Good evening, everyone. Match 19 of the 1975 Cricket World Cup when Brian Lara cricket was played today. It was the rebel South African 11 against New Zealand. A victory for New Zealand would make them the second country to qualify for the World Cup quarterfinals here in England. Let's have a look at the outcome today. Really weird. Well, I won't say it was a weird game, but I'd say it was disturbingly disappointing, needless to say the least. South Africa won the toss on a flat, hard pitch in 22-degree weather and elected to bowl first. Now, their reckoning was the previous match on this ground, Rhodesia only scored 206 for 6. The difference was there were slightly overcast conditions and it was a bit of a slow wicket. New Zealand's top order have been in sensational form and they hit a New Zealand record score for one-day international, 315 for 4 from their 50 overs. To be honest with you, had the other three teams, West Indies, United Arab Emirates and Kenya, batted first when South Africa played those three sides, they would have been hit for about between 330 and 360. Their bowlers are just absolutely diabolical. But a bit of history here, 130 off 120 deliveries for Captain Glenn Turner. He's now the leading run scorer in the tournament with about 300 runs. We'll have a look at his statistics in a moment. The two key players, Dayle Hadlee and Glenn Turner, in absolute stupendous form. He becomes the first batsman to hit 2 centuries in a single World Cup tour, to hit 2 centuries in the same World Cup in a single World Cup tournament. 130 off 120 deliveries. Brilliant 79 for John Morrison off 82 deliveries. His second 50 of the tournament. They put on an opening stand of 180. They didn't really bother them, really. 32 for Jeff Howarth of 40 deliveries. 7 for Brian Hastings. 7 not out for Ken Wadsworth, wicket-keeper. But 53 off 46 deliveries towards the back end. He got a 50 with the last ball of the innings. And that was John Parker, his first 50 of the tournament. So he will be very, very happy with his display. They actually didn't bowl 10 bowlers this time. They actually bowled their three pace bowlers and the spinners. The 3 pace bowlers, 58 for 1, 71 for 0, 57 for 1. The 2 spinners, 60 for 1 and 68 for 1. Somehow how flat the pitch was. In response, the rebel South Africa 11... Well, it was absolutely weird. They lost a wicket with the 5th ball of the innings, 0. Then they just basically decided, well, we've lost an early wicket, we're just going to bat out the full 50 overs. And they scored in the first 25 overs, they'd only scored 75 runs. And then, the next 25 overs, they started to hit the short... They bowled a lot of short balls, the New Zealand pace bowlers, early on, and they just played and missed at them. But then, towards the back of the innings, they started hitting the short balls out of the ground, and they were hitting them pretty well. So can you imagine, the pitch stayed flat throughout, in my opinion. I don't think New Zealand bowled as well as they could have, but the pitch did stay flat, and they played the West Indies or England, I think 316 would have been very chaseable. But the fact is, the rebel South Africa 11 just decided to try and bat out the 50 overs after they lost the early wicket. 79, 47, 22, 26, 10, 4, 8, 5, not out, 12 and 0. And then towards the end, the 2 Hadlee brothers, Richard and Dale, just came in and they collapsed from 173 for 3 to 217 all out. The last 7 wickets falling for just 44 runs. So in the end, even though they tried to bat the 50 overs, they were all out with 1 ball remaining. So it just makes you think, why did they not play the short ball? Play aggressively against the short ball early on in the innings. The rebel South African captain said, we try to be flamboyant against the likes of the West Indies and the United Arab Emirates. We got bowled out in each of those 2 games. Well, they've been bowled out for 217. It's their lowest score of the competition. At least against West Indies, they scored 223 all out and 241 all out against the United Arab Emirates. So a bit of a letdown, really. Disappointing. Not a really high quality match, but have a look at this. 50 for 0 for Brian McKinley. 45 for 2 for Richard Hadlee, continuing his good form. 342 for Hadlee Howarth. He's done really well, the slow left-arm spinner. He's got 8 wickets in the tournament. It's the second highest wicket taker. 1 for 45 for Richard Collange. He took the vital wicket for the opening batsman earlier. And 4 for 33 for Dayle Hadlee. He's got 9 wickets in the tournament and is actually now the leading wicket taker. We'll have a look at his stats in a moment. Both the key players for New Zealand really in good form, as you will see. Match summary. South Africa won the toss to let their bowl. Not really a good decision, but I think the pitch played well enough that a quality side or a non-associates, a test-playing nation, could have chased 316 on that pitch. New Zealand made 315 for 4, with Rebel South Africa 11, all out to 217 with 1 ball remaining. New Zealand winning by an emphatic 98 runs. And man of the match for the second time in the tournament, for his second century off 130 off 120 deliveries, Glenn Turner. Man of the match, Glenn Turner, first batsman to score 2 centuries in one World Cup tournament. He may not, but he's not going to be he's the first, but he certainly won't be the last to probably get 2 centuries in one World Cup tournament. Surely we'll see more. In fact, sorry, I've just realised Turner scored back-to-back hundreds against Sri Lanka and then India. So my apologies, I've got that all wrong. He's the second batsman in the World Cup to get 200s in the same tournament. So it's incredible. With 2 Turners, Alan Turner for Australia and Glenn Turner for New Zealand, both 200s in the World Cup. So take that back, everyone. That's my mistake. Alan Turner, 200s against India and Sri Lanka for Australia, and Glenn Turner 200s against the Rebel South African 11 and Kenya. This is what it means. New Zealand are in the quarterfinals. The second country to book their place in the quarterfinals. It'll be them and West Indies to decide who finishes top of the group. They've got one more match in between then. West Indies have the United Arab... Well, sorry, they don't have... West Indies have Kenya and New Zealand have the United Arab Emirates. That's before they meet each other for their final group game. Tomorrow's match, the host nation, England, can become the first side to book their place in the quarterfinals from Group 2 if they beat Holland tomorrow. Holland still living off the back of that thrilling victory against Rhodesia. Still living off, and know that if they can put off the biggest shock in cricket in history, they are right in the mix for a quarter-final place. England win tomorrow, they'll be the first team to reach for quarter-finals from Group 2. So, as I said, let's just have a look at the record for the New Zealand players in this World Cup. They are just having a good tournament. Glenn Turner having a very good tournament, and Dayle Hadlee's getting better and better all the time. We will confirm what I believe. They're both the leading run scorer and leading wicket taker respectively. Archives. Yep, 155 average with a bat for Glenn Turner and an average of 10 for Dayle Hadlee. We will confirm this. 311 runs at an average of 155. He is the leading run scorer in the tournament. Let's just go to Glenn Turner. Yep, he scored 200s, 242 runs in 3 innings. It's Alan Turner. So he's the second highest run scorer. And Dayle Hadlee, yep, that confirms it. 9 wickets in just 3 matches at an average of 10. He's the leading wicket taker in this tournament. 1 in front of his fellow bowler and New Zealand spinner Hadlee Howarth, who's got 8 wickets in 3 matches. I'm just going to have a quick look, just see whether we've got anything more. He's also up there as leading wicket taker, 7 wickets in 3 matches for Bernard Julian of the West Indies. So we're just having a quick look to see on the leading wicket takers in the tournament. Yep, Hadlee Howarth is second on the list with 8 wickets, but the leading wicket taker is Dayle Hadlee with 9 wickets in just 3 matches. So an emphatic performance from let's just set the camera right. An emphatic performance from New Zealand in the end. I wasn't overly convinced for their bowling. They bowled the short ball quite a lot in the first 20-25 overs with fast bowlers. But in the end, they squeezed South Africa, Rebel South African 11 and company won by 98 runs. They're through to the quarterfinals now, and the two key players, Glenn Turner, the leading run scorer, and Dayle Hadlee, the leading wicket taker. New Zealand look very, very dangerous, and that match against West Indies is going to be very, very close. They've got a match against the UAE. They've got a match against the United Arab Emirates in a few days' time, so they'll be hoping that they can make it 4 out of 4. If they do make it 4 out of 4, it will guarantee they'll probably avoid England and Australia. At the moment, New Zealand, West Indies, if they keep winning when they play each other, they'll be playing either potentially Kenya, Holland, or Kenya. Oh, sorry, Kenya in their group. Sorry, they'll potentially either play in Holland, Sri Lanka, or India. That all depends on whether Australia and England keep winning Group 2. Yeah, a weird game, to be honest with you. I felt very, very negative. If to be 0 for 1 and then, 173 for 3 for about 30, 40 overs just sums up how flat the pitch was. If they had proper quality players, I reckon that 316 could have been chased down if it was either West Indies or England or even Australia. We've got great stroke players as well. But that's that. New Zealand are in the quarterfinals. The second country to qualify for World Cup quarterfinals. Holland versus England tomorrow. Holland open to cause the biggest shock ever in cricket history. England looking to keep up their good form. Should be a comfortable win for England, but Holland will be still on a high of that thrilling victory against Rhodesia. Anyway, that's all for me. I hope you've had a good evening. That's been the match report of match 19 of this Cricket World Cup up in England. I'll see you tomorrow for the match report between Holland and England in match 20 of the 1975 World Cup on Brian Lara Cricket. Until then, bye-bye everyone.